Hello and welcome once again everyone. Today's replay highlight is a real treat and features the Tier 8 Premium American battleship Massachusetts. Before jumping into the action, I would like to give a special shout out and thanks to Yesod from the clan European Axis of Power for sharing this very entertaining replay with me. The complete recommended ship build and captain skills can be found after the main highlights, and the timestamp can be seen here on screen if you wish to jump ahead at any point or for future reference. Massachusetts is the second South Dakota-class battleship to come to World of Warships, but plays very differently than her sister ship, Alabama, in several ways. The primary differences can be found in her main and secondary batteries. Massachusetts is an American battleship built for mid and close range brawling, but struggles at long range due to its main battery having a lower sigma value, which generally results in slightly unreliable shell groupings. This combined with a relatively slow shell velocity, it can be challenging to say the least to have an impact from range, so captains are encouraged to close the distance against enemy ships in order to improve her effectiveness. Massachusetts is unique among American battleships for the power of her secondaries. Her secondaries fire faster, farther, and are more accurate than those found on any other American battleship. So when played well, and thanks to these secondaries, she truly can be a monster in the right player's hands. Our captain has fired off some initial salvos here, but without too much success. As I've already mentioned, even for skilled players, it can still be quite difficult to land shells at long range. Taking up strong central position here, which I like. Too often in standard battle mode, players feel the urge to charge the flanks, which leaves the centre weak and undefended. So I like this initial positioning. It allows one to react faster to where the enemy pushes. Our captain decides to focus his attention on the right flank, cleverly using the large island here to turn, while shielding his vulnerable broadside from the enemy battleships on the left side of the map. Shots out on the enemy Baltimore, who would seem to be reversing. I'm not actually a big fan of these space camos, as it can be a little bit difficult to ascertain when targets are on fire, and also you don't get an accurate representation of the smoke coming from the funnels, which allows you to determine which direction these ships are actually moving. Friendly Nuremberg gets taken out. He was showing way too much broadside to the enemy ships there. And our captain loses all vision on the enemy team. He is detected. Enemy Baltimore is fired. The captain decides to turn away and not commit at the moment. There is an enemy Sinop, enemy Baltimore, and an enemy Duca down there in the distance. The Sinop has taken up a position on the corner of the island. The enemy Baltimore has set our captain on fire, which he repairs. Gets undetected. Fires his rear guns there once again at the Baltimore, who has continued to reverse away. So our captain is just going to rotate around and maintain a holding position behind this island for the moment. Gets his secondaries to start opening fire on the enemy Sinop. He's able to comfortably lob these secondary shells over the island. Manages to get a fire on that Sinop. And the secondary hits are slowly beginning to add up there. Main guns once again focusing on the Baltimore, who is maintaining a very passive position there, well angled. It's really going to take some RNG straight from heaven there to be able to do significant damage to the Baltimore from this angle and range. Enemy Kagero is spotted, and this is a trend you'll see so often repeated in standard battles. You can see a large number of the friendly team is out on the 1 and 10 lines virtually, which allows these destroyers to just simply sail through the middle. Our captain opens fire with his secondaries. You can see these are quite accurate. Large number of hits. Gets a couple of hits with the main battery, and the secondaries take out this Kagero, who continued to sail in a dead straight line. He never made any attempt to maneuver to slow down whatsoever, and that's a big mistake when you're under focused fire from these secondary guns of the Massachusetts. They are incredibly accurate and incredibly punishing. So that's our captain's first kill of the game and his first close quarters expert. Enemy Synop suddenly decides to make a push. He's showing full broadside in a big mistake on the Synop's part. Couple of penetrations, no citadel, but a nice chunky 18,000. Synop now realizes the error of his ways. Attempts to turn away. Our captain is angled nicely here towards the Synop. He's able to bounce the majority of the enemy's shells. All the while these secondaries are doing their job. Another volley of 4,000 on that Synop as he attempts to flee. Some incoming fire there from the Baltimore probably. The enemy Synop is attempting to fall back here, but there is very little chance of him escaping these secondaries. He made a very strange push here. Some people just tend to lose patience or make a misplay like this. It's not like the Massachusetts was undetected and he didn't know that the enemy battleship was here. Enemy Synop goes down and our captain gets his second close quarters expert of this match. Baltimore is attempting to flee, and the enemy Aduka would seem to be making a kamikaze run here. He has pointed bow in. This Italian cruiser does have torpedoes, and he would seem intent on using them. Attempting to reverse here slowly, he's holding his position. Enemy Duca now will have to show broadside to get these torpedoes away. And 3 spotted in the water. A little unlucky there, only gets over pens. Takes one directly on the bow, which results in a flood. Our captain quickly uses his damage control. Second wave of torps are in the water, but his damage control is still active, so there's no flood. Enemy Duca has made his play. It hasn't worked out for him. A little surprised there our captain didn't wait for his secondaries to take that simple kill. Maybe he just thought, I'll just finish him with the main guns just in case he sets me on fire with one last desperate salvo. So our captain has got his third kill. He's up to 109,000 damage. Quick look at the scoreboard. Can see the teams are virtually dead level. Each team has lost 5 ships. We are radared. That means the enemy Baltimore has come back in for a look. Our captain decides to push forward around the corner. And the Baltimore is being extremely aggressive here. Incoming salvo there that landed way short from the Richelieu. But this Baltimore is showing full broadside and in an extremely vulnerable position. Shots out. Big salvo on the Baltimore. And he gets finished off by our captain's secondaries with his third close quarters expert achievement. Another volley comes in from the Richelieu, who is also showing full broadside. One should always graciously accept such gifts when presented. Shots out on the Richelieu. French battleships are quite fast. It's 5600. Just one overbend and penetration. It looks like there's torpedo bombers coming in from the enemy Enterprise. Another salvo from the Richelieu, which completely misses the mark. It would suggest that this Richelieu captain is quite inexperienced. He continues to show full broadside. Our captain gets the high caliber award. He does take 3 torpedoes from the enemy Enterprise. Enemy Richelieu is unperturbed, continues sailing in a straight line, which is quite amusing. Another salvo comes in, does 0 damage. Shots out once again. The enemy Richelieu, who has been sailing in a straight line for the last 3 salvos, now suddenly decides to take evasive maneuvers when he sees some enemy planes in the sky. Friendly Chicago is launching some dive bomber attacks. Secondaries start to fire. Shots out once again. The enemy Richelieu has done a 180 turn. His guns are facing the wrong direction. Would seem to be in a full state of panic when confronted with the Chicago's planes. He's now sailing the opposite direction. Shots out once again. Almost 4,000. Enemy Richelieu is quite low. And only when the Richelieu is just about to die does he decide to actually angle away from our captain. Secondaries continue to pound in. And there's the Kraken Unleashed award. It could so easily have been a Kraken comprising of 5 close quarter experts. That poor Richelieu captain, he really didn't know how to deal with that situation. Usually when you see something like this in game, it's usually the result of a player attempting to rush up the tiers in an attempt to get tier 9s and tier 10s, when they really haven't gathered enough in-game experience to actually deal with the level of opponents you will be regularly faced up against. Our captain launches his spotter plane in an attempt to get shells out on that Charles Martel. Our captain's division mate gets taken out by the Enterprise in his Bayard. Now it's very optional whether you want to run with a spotter plane or a fighter squadron in the Massachusetts. Due to its very poor dispersion at long range, it really is like trying to buy a lottery ticket. An attempt to land shells on target from this distance. Especially on a maneuverable target like a French cruiser, Charles Martel. They're able to turn and move quite swiftly. Charles Martel does get unspotted, and he's spotted once again. He's sporting one of the Halloween camos. Torpedo planes coming in from the enemy Enterprise. Our captain focuses his anti-aircraft defences. Friendly Otago manages to slip between Those torpedoes, nicely done. Shots away on the Charles Martel once again. He has taken up a position where the island is providing him natural cover. He is, however, spotted by the carrier's attack aircraft. Now in a 5-on-3 situation, things are looking more favourable regards the outcome of this game. Shots out once again on Charles Martel. He's just in behind that island. Captain does manage to get 2 penetrations there. Gets the Confederate achievement added to a long growing list of achievements in this game. Now currently has a grand total of 8 achievements. Enemy York would appear to be AFK. That never helps your team. He lands a volley of almost 4,000. The enemy Enterprise takes out a friendly Atago. And this dispersion can be quite trolly from this distance. All 3 shells from the back guns totally miss. Front guns fire once again. There's Citadel, and we'll call that a gimme. Our captain gets his 6th kill of the game. And more enemy dive bombers coming in now from the enemy Enterprise. Captain focuses anti-aircraft defences again. Charles Martel seems to be rushing out from behind that island. Our captain is ready and waiting, and bags his 7th kill of that game with a nice Citadel strike on that enemy Charles Martel. That just leaves the enemy aircraft carrier, the Enterprise, as the sole remaining ship on the enemy team. Our captain is up to 213,000 damage. He's amassed 7 kills in this game. More enemy torpedo planes coming in. Our captain once again makes sure to reinforce his sector to boost his anti-aircraft defences. He's already up to 27 plane kills. The Enterprise did rush that drop, you can see from the dispersion. He gets the AA Defense Expert achievement. Achievement number 9. Continues to shoot down these fighter planes. Enemy Enterprise is running, but he's got nowhere to run at this point. Shots away. $2,600 from 2 overpens. Enterprise sends in some attack aircraft. They shouldn't pose a threat at this point. Into the last minute of this contest now. All that remains to be seen is if our captain can secure this 8th and final kill of this match. Gets a nice healthy salvo of almost 13,000 damage. Just over 30 seconds left on the timer. And he gets some favourable dispersion with these guns. Shots out. Focus these aircraft once again. And he successfully bags his 8th kill. 10 achievements in a very entertaining game. I hope you all enjoyed it. Before going to the complete ship build, I've added some links including the Help Me Discord and my own personal Discord in the description below. Now on to the build. Starting off with the consumables, I always stress the importance of using premium, not only to decrease the cooldown time of your damage control, but also to add extra charges of repair party and defense fighters. Massachusetts gets 5 ship upgrade slots, starting off with Main Armament Mod 1, Damage Control Mod 1, Secondary Battery Mod 1, Damage Control Mod 2, and finally Concealment System Mod 1. Onto the captain skills. If you're training a new captain from scratch, I suggest going for Preventive Maintenance, Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, and Advanced Firing Training for your first 10 points. The final 9 points leaves one a lot of room for manoeuvre and depends very much on your own skill level and how you wish to play the Massachusetts. But in this secondary build I go for Manual Fire Control, IFHE, and finally Priority Target for your final 19th point. So let's take a look at what this build means for the ship's final stats. For survivability, Massachusetts gets 66,300 hit points, further enhanced by 5 repair parties. Main artillery consists of 3 x3 406mm guns, 2 in the front and 1 in the rear, with 18.3 kilometers in range and a reload time of 30 seconds. The secondary armament of Massachusetts consists of 10 dual-mounted 127mm turrets with a firing range of 11.3 kilometers and a reload speed of 3.8 seconds. Massachusetts gets a very strong AA defense rating of 91 with a max firing range of 5.8 kilometers, which is further enhanced by having an additional 4 fighter charges. For manoeuvrability, Massachusetts gets a max base speed of 27.5 knots, a turning circle of 710 meters, and a rudder shift time of 15.7 seconds. And finally, Massachusetts has a concealment rating of 43, meaning you will be surface detected at 14.5 kilometers and by aircraft at 8.8 kilometers. I'd like to thank you once again all for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more. Take a moment to check out some of my most recent videos and leave a comment below. And until the next time, keep sailing it like you stole it.